been procrastinating making this video for a while, but I don't know if anyone's noticed, but it's getting pretty crazy out there. So I thought maybe now is the time. Um, this video is about how to prepare for the end of the world, kind of. If you know me, you probably know that I've been working in climate change for a little while now. Um, and so I spend a good amount of my time looking at climate projections, reading climate news, things like that. And uh, it's getting pretty dire. It's really pretty bad. I mean, if you're not familiar with it, basically every year has broken the all-time record for the warmest year. Um, that's been happening for something like 5 years in a row now. Um, 2024 was, again, the warmest year on record. Um, and we're seeing sort of an acceleration in climate effects. We're seeing, uh, the wildfires in California. Last year, there were wildfires in Canada that put smoke all over the northeastern U.S., including here in Rochester. We've got uh, we here in Rochester had tornadoes. You don't usually get those. Um, and we've been having these freezing temperatures in the U.S. They had snow in New Orleans, feet of snow in New Orleans, because all the climate change has destabilized the pocket of cold air that usually sits over the Arctic, so it slides down onto the U.S. and other places. It's only going to keep getting worse. And with the recent inauguration of Donald Trump and him pulling the U.S. out of the climate accords, the Paris Climate Accords, it's not clear that our governments are going to save us from these problems. Not only that, but it's not clear that we'll make it to the climate change end of the world. Based on this sort of increasing levels of conflict, there's wars everywhere. Um, I think that we are at an unstable point in human history. Um, Even AI could be playing into that, and what that could do to sort of global economies as millions and millions of people are pushed out of work. So the question is, what do we do about that? I have two kids, and I want them to be living in a world that's safe and happy and good for them. And I want to live in a world that's safe and happy and good for me. And it can seem like there's too much for anyone to take care of. I have a basic framework that I really want all the people that I love, all my friends and family, to sort of adopt, that is essential for being able to deal with all this uncertainty. The basic framework is you need to start living now as if you're in the best version, as if you're in the best version of the most likely future. Let me break that down a little bit. The best version of the most likely future means we're not imagining some perfect future that's not going to happen. We're not imagining that we are in Star Trek and we just have replicators and we can instantly make all the food and water and clothing and everything that we want. We're assuming the future that we see, a future of destabilization, a future of nation states collapsing, a future of increasing climate impacts. What's the best version of that future? The best version of that future is a version where people are taking care of each other and people are creating small pockets of stability amongst all this, global instability. And the way that you sort of imagine you might have to live in that world. I mean, here, we're in upstate New York. We're really close to a bunch of water, and so it's a relatively good place to be, at least as far as climate change goes. Um, I can imagine that I might need to, in the future, walk more because, all these wars in the Middle East and the increasing costs of shipping from climate change are going to mean that gas prices are going to keep going up. So I can imagine that that would be true in the future. I can imagine that in the future, food prices will keep going up, and I might need to learn how to garden and grow some of my own food, or I might need to figure out how to support local farmers in my own area. I can imagine that the prices for energy created with gas and even energy created sustainably are going to keep going up. So I might want to have some solar panels or something in the future so that I am able to, charge my devices and keep my house running. I might imagine that in the future there won't be as many sort of social services available, and so I might want to, rather than necessarily relying on the healthcare system, I might want to figure out how to change my diet so I'm healthier in the future. And I might want to figure out how to take care of the people around me if there's an emergency. Because who knows if we're still going to have, you know, firefighters and police and things like that. And I might need to, band together with my community to do things like that myself. The thing about all these things I can imagine having in the future or needing to do in the future is that I can do them now. You can do all these things now. You can think to yourself, well, in the future, I might need to be able to grow my own food. And then you can start growing your own food now. Because anything that you do now is going to be something that you don't have to rush to do. Right now, you have more resources than you will in the future to do things like this. This is an investment strategy. This is saying, okay, how can I invest in stabilizing my own future by making it so that when these big changes hit, I'm already there. I'm already ready. When gas hits $6 a gallon, I already have a bike. I've already, I've already been walking around. I already know how to. Uh, I already live in a place that's dense enough that I have places I can go in walking distance. As things get more, unstable, I already know all my neighbors. I'm not worried about who's going to show up at my door. And if someone weird does show up at my door, all my neighbors know, and they know that they don't know that I don't know that person, and they're looking out for me. That's the sort of thing that you want to be prepared for already. You want to be doing already. Now, some of those things will not be viable in some places. If you're living in, I don't know, Southern California, if you're living in Florida, if you're living uh, maybe in some low-lying islands, places that already have big, places that have hurricanes, places that have monsoons and typhoons, cyclones, places that have drought and wildfire, those things are all going to get worse. So you might want to think about moving to a place where those things happen less. You also might want to think about where your money is. If all of your money is tied up in global markets, if it's all in the stock market, you have a 401k and stuff like that, you might want to think about investing some of it in something a little more tangible. Maybe that's gold and stuff like that, but really, in my opinion, it's, a nice piece of land in a place that's resilient to climate, or building up your house in such a way that it's going to be durable for years to come, and it's not going to, doing something like putting a steel roof on your house, so that you have sort of you're ready for all the things that the weather is going to throw at you. Or even doing things like, hey, maybe someone's been trying to start a coffee shop in your neighborhood, and you can start a Kickstarter and you can, or a GoFundMe, and you can, throw a couple thousand their way that you would have, invested in your 401k, but it's more worth it to you to have a good coffee shop or a good community center, or uh, make a donation to your local library. Those local, hyper local resources are going to be really important for your survivability, your ability to thrive uh, as time goes forwards. So if you pick a place that's a place that you can live for a long time, you've looked up what the climate impacts are for that spot, and you want to stay there, think about taking some of the money that you might be saving for yourself and investing it in that place in order to make the community in that place stronger, because the community is what's really going to make sure that you're able to stay there. I have some other ideas around all this, but this video is already just past 10 minutes, so I don't want to go too long. But that's the basic idea. The basic idea is look to the future and think about, what is my life in this place in the future going to look like? If it's not going to be viable, if the place is going to be on fire or underwater, get out of that place. If it is going to be viable, but it's going to be hard, make sure you start taking the steps today that are going to lead to you being healthy and happy in that place in 15 years. Act like the future has already come. Just be ready for it. If you have questions about all this stuff, let me know. There's a lot of details to think about. And as I said, I think about this a lot at work. So, I think that there's opportunities for people to sort of join together. I don't know if anyone wants to buy some more land in upstate New York with me and build like a compound for us all to go hang out on once in a while. Um, but there's definitely opportunities to create more community in order to make us all safer. Um, so yeah, thanks for listening, and I hope everyone avoids as much of these catastrophes as you can.